Hey, dog sport handlers. Welcome to the Canine Handler Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Liz Joyce, your go-to expert for all things dog sport fitness. Whether you're running agility, doing protection work, tackling search and rescue, handling a tough tugger, or just looking to build strength for a lifetime of adventures with your dog, remember, you are half the team, and I'm here to help you stay strong, mobile, and injury-free. Join me as I break down the unique demands of handler fitness, speed, strength, endurance, and everything you need to perform at your best, both in and out of the ring. Let's stay strong, stay in the game, and keep doing what we love. Let's dive in. Howdy, and welcome back to the Canine Handler Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Liz Joyce, and today we are diving into part one of a two-part mini-series on a very important and the top requested piece of fitness advice from agility handlers, which is sprint speed. What we're really talking about today, though, is your sprint form. Because yes, we want to get faster. How do we get faster? We get faster by running better. Sprinting well is not just about effort. It really is about mechanics. In this first episode, we're going to be breaking down your foot strike position and why where your foot lands either helps or hinders you. We'll also be talking about knee drive, which is your secret sauce to powerful accelerations. We'll also be touching on your arm pumping mechanics, what your upper body should and also should not be doing. You'll learn why these elements matter, how to tell if you're missing them, and practical drills for each to start fixing your form today. If you're feeling slow, clunky, or maybe a little bit out of control or off balance when you are sprinting, this episode will help you unlock more speed without just trying harder. And don't forget that part two is coming next week, where we'll cover torso position, hip extension, and also your cadence or strikes per minute. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. The first thing we're going to talk about is your foot strike position. When we talk about foot strike, what we're talking about and looking at is where your foot lands in relation to the body. A lot of people overstride, and what this looks like is when the foot lands out in front of you. And what happens and why it's an issue is that when you land on your heel out in front of you, it acts like a brake. Instead, when you're sprinting, we want the foot to land under your hips. Where your foot lands has a huge impact on your sprint efficiency and your injury risk. Landing with your foot too far in front of your body really creates a braking effect that slows you down, and it is so stressful on your joints. What we want to do is have the forefoot land underneath your hips, which helps you maintain balance and springiness, and it also lets you push off with way more explosiveness per step. So again, this is why it matters. Proper foot strike reduces impact forces that can cause shin splints, knee pain, and ankle issues. It also helps you maintain better posture and control over your direction changes on course. So here's how to know if this is applicable to you. If you notice that you're overstriding, so your foot is hitting the ground way ahead of your body, or if it feels like you're braking when you're running, it can also feel like your foot is jamming into the ground in front of you. You might also feel your back arching when you're pulling your leg forward, because the body, instead of hitting the ground more frequently, wants to take longer strides, and to make that happen, a lot of people arch through the back as they drive the leg forward. So those are really good cues that this is something that you're going to want to work on. A good foot strike should feel very springy and fast, but an improperly placed foot strike can feel like you're kind of pulling yourself forward, not pushing. So that's another thing to think about when you're running. And a lot of people do their life and then go to agility practice, and that is where you run and practice. And I'm going to really encourage you to go out somewhere, warm up, always going to warm up, and when you're sprinting, feel and ask your body questions. Hey, when I'm sprinting, does it feel like I'm driving forward, or does it feel like I'm pulling forward? What's working harder when I'm doing this? And does my body feel fluid, or is it kind of jamming into the ground? Here are some cues that can really help. You want to think about striding and hitting the ground under you, not ahead of you. And here is my favorite one. I want you to pretend like you're running over hot coals. Get your feet off the ground. There's some drills you can also do. You're welcome to take a look at these on YouTube. A skips or wall lean marches, or with your feet on the ground, hand on the wall. Practice driving your knees up as if you're doing an actual sprinting stride. I also love ladder work for this too. All of those are going to reinforce where your foot should land and get your body used to this corrected position and get your body used to being with its weight over the forefoot. Now let's talk about your knee drive. Knee drive gives you power and rhythm. Without a really solid knee drive, your legs kind of flail, or your stride is going to stay short and less efficient. But a strong knee drive actually helps lift your whole body, and it pulls you into a better rhythm, and it really helps with acceleration. Your knee drive is a critical source of power and momentum when you're sprinting. Driving your knees high and fast help generate forward movement and improve your running rhythm. This is why it really, really matters. A good knee drive engages your hip flexors and your core, which allows for more explosive starts and smoother transitions when you're changing speed or direction. It also really improves your turnover rate, your leg turnover rate, or your strikes per minute, which is key for running faster. When you want to think about running faster, I don't want you thinking about longer steps. I want you thinking about hitting the ground and getting off of it. Not hitting the ground. I want you to think about getting off the ground as fast as you possibly can. Here are some things to notice, which are indications that you might be missing this. It can feel like your legs are dragging, or your stride might feel kind of flat. It might feel like it's lacking a bit of that snap we're looking for. And when you're watching your videos, you're going to clearly see that your knees just don't lift up very high. Another thing that can happen, because our bodies are such amazing adaptation machines, is that your legs can swing out instead of lifting. And these are all things that are cues for you that focusing on driving your knee up when you're running can help so much. I want you to be thinking about high, quick, and snappy movements. I don't want you floating in the air. I don't want it to be a fluffy thing. I want you to be aggressive and snappy and drive your knee up. I didn't say float your knee up. It's not yoga. We are driving the knee up. I see this happen quite a lot with handlers, and I think in anticipation of direction changes, and also, like I was saying before, having kind of your life and then going to agility practice, and that's where you sprint. Without a focused sprinting practice on your own, it's really tough to have the confidence in your body's ability to slow down for transitions or direction changes. And I think that this really comes into play in that situation too. So here's some cues. When you're running, I want you to drive your knee up like you're smashing glass, like right in front of you or on top of your knee. That sounds so ouchy, but it's a great visual because it's going to help you connect with that, making a lot of force as you drive your knee up. I also want you to think about not swinging your leg. I don't want you to think about that. What I want you thinking about is snapping the knee up. Again, you're smashing some glass. So these two cues back to back, the foot strike and knee drive, sound like drive the knee up, smash some glass, and then hit that ground really hard underneath you. Here's a couple drills you can use to work on this. You can try high knees with a pause, so you can freeze up at the top to check your posture and also work on that single leg balance. You can also add a band around the bridge of your feet to add some extra power and strength training. Remember, this is really important, that your knees and your arms are linked and they are working as a unit, and we're going to hop into that next. Your arm pumping mechanics. I didn't say arm position, pumping. Arms matter way more than you think. They are so important. With my agility handlers in their sprinting programs, first we work on building good foot strike position, and then we work on these different mechanics like knee drives and making sure we have a full leg extension, and we work on these things independent of duration or distance. Then we work on bringing these things into play in shorter distances so that they don't have the fatigue as a component of it, working at a lower fatigue level for a shorter distance. Once they have that dialed in, we start progressively adding speed. Because remember that the sprinting distance is an ask of your cardiovascular system. It also is an ask of you being able to perform those mechanics when you're fatigued. And it's also a big ask of your muscles and your joints and your ligaments and all of that stuff. So we want to make sure that we're really progressively increasing that distance. And by the time they're in the later parts of intermediate and into the advanced part of our outdoor speed training program, I have them use their arm extended when they're sprinting, and it changes the game like so much. I also have them practice verbals with their arm extended when they're sprinting. And it is incredible how much speed is affected when the arm is extended. As agility handlers, remember y'all, you are not just running straight. You also have these other things to bring into play, and it's really important to practice and train it before you need it. So again, good arm movement is going to keep your stride balanced, help your cadence stay smooth, and make sure that your energy is focused forward. When your arms cross midline or flop around, I also sometimes see handlers ready to give a cue. So they kind of keep their arm in a less of a bent position, a little more down by their side, so they can quickly whip their arm out to show their dog where to go. All of these things and that whole chain of movement can kind of fall apart when that stuff happens. Because your arm swing isn't just about moving your arms. Your arm movement drive your whole sprinting rhythm. Your arms help balance your body and generate momentum, and again, coordinate with your legs to increase efficiency. But poor arm mechanics can throw off your timing and also significantly reduce your speed. I've really loved using arm motion with people who feel like they've maxed out what their legs can do. I can see that they've got more speed in them, but sometimes when a person's core isn't quite strong enough or connected enough, it's like their upper and lower body don't have a clean line of communication. And when their legs are going as fast as they can, and there's like, I'm really going as fast as I can see that there's so much more there. And my cue for them is forget about your legs. I need you to pump your arms like as hard and fast as you can. And the legs will work to coordinate with that. And that focus on the upper body, build that communication line between the upper and lower body and get your core way more engaged. That might be a cue for you if you think this arm pumping motion could be something that's going on with you. Again, this really matters because efficient arm pumping stabilizes the torso, and it will help you maintain a consistent cadence and direction. It is also going to reduce wasted energy from unnecessary rotation, and that is a really big deal. Having endurance in sprinting has to do with, yes, your fitness, yes, your strength, and filling in all of the energy leaks that happen in your mechanics and also holes in your strength training. And not having energy leaks is going to leave you with way more stamina, and I love doing that for people. Here are some things that are going to be cues for you to know if you're missing it. If you're feeling off balance, or if you notice your shoulders tightening up when you're sprinting, perhaps if your arms are swinging loosely or they cross over your body, or maybe your body just doesn't feel connected to your legs. Again, that line of communication isn't as strong as it could be, but these are all cues that your arm mechanics are going to need work. This is going to become really clear for you when you're sprinting and you're tired. You might feel your arms slow down. You might also feel your shoulders get tense, and your whole body, your legs and arms, and just everything will feel out of sync. Here are some cues for you to think about if you think that this is a piece of it. I want you to think about thumb to cheek. One thumb is up at your cheek. The other thumb is like in your back pocket. So you're going to go from your face cheek to your bum cheek, and then try to move your hands. Start slow. Move your hands so that they end up cheek to cheek. And again, you're going to start a really slow motion. Keep your elbows in, cheek to cheek, and then increase the speed as you can do that. Just make sure that your elbows are coming out behind you. Some drills To bring that into practice is actually just sitting down and practicing that motion. And then I also love doing this in a half kneeling or a split stance position. So you get way more core activation when you do that. And I promise you that when your arms and legs are working together, your whole stride is going to feel lighter, more coordinated, and so powerful. Thanks so much for tuning in to part 1 of this sprint form mini series. Today we covered foundational mechanics like your foot strike, your knee drive, and also your arm pumping action, and how these small changes can really unlock more speed, power, and control on course. But y'all, we are just getting started. In part 2, we're going to be diving into hip extension, your posture and torso positioning, and also your cadence or strikes per minute, and how these pieces round out your sprinting technique so you can move with more rhythm, balance, and confidence. You don't want to miss it, so make sure you tune in next week and let's keep building that strong, responsive stride together. To learn more about how I help dog handlers build speed, strength, and longevity in their sport, head on over to caninehandlerfitness.com. I got programs, resources, and coaching that meet you exactly where you are, and I will look forward to seeing y'all next week.